Hello, I'm Claire. I've got a bit of a ghost face going on. I've been absolutely wiped out. Can you tell I've blown my nose so many times? I am white as a sheet. But I had the most epic experience of my life. I was coming back on the train 2 days ago and I got pulled to close my eyes because I was going to do some typing and writing, but for some reason I was pulled not to and just said be in this present moment. So I sat and I closed my eyes and I went into this vision of like light coming from me right down the train, and then it shot out my back and went down the train the other way, and then it was like every person on the train filled with light, and like everyone was energy, and just this light show exploded. And then I was shown the wheels and they were all like filled with light, and then there was this the track was broken, and it was like I was lifting the wheels up above the track to sort of hover over the broken one, and it was like all the train became energy, and it was really cool. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting, and sort of came out of it and came back around, and I was like, yeah, it was like interesting vision, but I wonder if there was anything wrong with the track, and I wonder if I've helped, and I wonder if I've done anything good, because that was a bit visual and weird. Not weird, but just out of the blue in that moment. And then the woman came on the announcement saying, "Dear passengers, we've had to reduce the speed of the train to emergency," I don't know why I'm doing a funny voice, "to an emergency speed because we've noticed a fault in the track up ahead, or we've been notified of a fault or something." So they were coming down to an emergency speed so that we could switch tracks and avoid this disaster, basically. And I just burst out into tears. And I got so emotional. And the joy and gratitude for my life, everyone else's life on the train, just filled me up and exploded out of me. And that was then also kind of part of it, this huge gratitude, and it was the most insane, intense feeling. And I think that was also it was like part of the healing. And I was going, whether or not I had a hand in doing anything at all, I was just still so grateful to be there. And, you just be like, perhaps that's just one hell of a coincidence. Even if it was, what a most profound and phenomenal coincidence ever. And I was just there, filled up and bawling my eyes out with joy that I was alive. I was like, in another reality, if I'd been doing something else, if I'd been distracted, imagine if I hadn't gone into that process and I was in a train crash and I was dead and I wasn't going to go home to my little girl. And I just thought, and all these people on this train, they're all alive too. And I can feel it again now. The gratitude for life that we don't hardly ever appreciate is crazy, because anything can happen at any moment. We've no idea. Walking down the road, you're like, I'm so grateful to be home. I've made it home. And it was the most intense but beautiful feeling that all of our lives meant so much. And everyone's life does mean so much. And we go through ups and we go through downs and hard times and all of this, and I suppose then the flip side is sort of suicidal thoughts and, you know, people wishing that they weren't here, but all the quote-unquote negative is always teaching us something. Teaching us something epic and profound. And since that experience, I have been wiped out. I spent the next 24 hours in bed, couldn't get up, I was zapped. And then sort of the day after that, it was earache, nose, throat. Oh, I've been blowing my nose ever since. My voice is like gone. But I was like, I honestly don't care how cruddy I feel because I'm alive. And I'm still trying to sort of delve a bit deeper and be like, but maybe it's just that counteraction of, you know, whatever happened and that level of joy and bliss, there is a cost. It has been costly. I have felt awful. It was no cheap trade. Really wasn't. It's like, it's not just having a little cold and being in bed. I have felt, I don't know if I've ever felt, I have known such intense pain. So it's not been that bad. I've just been like a zombie, just been fried, wiped. It's been beautiful, mental, crazy. I don't quite know what to make of it. It could be like, oh, shut up, Clay, silly buggy, you've just had the flu. And your imagination's great. If so, wonderful. But I've had a spectacular time in Clareland. No, I do try and keep all the spiritual blah blah voodoo stuff to a minimum. And I'm not one of those people that like to make a facade or any stories or, you know, do a big talk show. That's not me. I'm all about feelings, truth, honesty, and getting things as real as possible. Which is why I'm not here professing to have done any sort of miracle. I told my friend Jonathan, he was like, well, maybe you did, like, bend time. It's totally possible. I believe it's totally possible, but yeah, I don't, perhaps I still got to work on that self-confidence a little bit before I go around professing to bend time. But spiritual experiences, you got to be able to explain them simply to really get it, in my book. If it's too random language, lofty, airy, fairy, I'm going, I don't buy that. It's too cryptic, because nobody really gets it. We can only get what we've experienced ourselves, can't we? And that's what's beautiful, each to their own, and we take exactly what we need from each experience. Right, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm gonna go lie down.